Don't worry about that noise outside. My dad's mowing the lawn, so hopefully it's not coming in too much through the camera that it will annoy you when you click off. But I've had a lot of time to, research more into this and think about what I had to say, because early on it was definitely one of those situations where I ended up being very upset with what happened, because when you think about concerts and whatnot, a lot of the times they're supposed to be a safe space for people. You're going to a concert, seeing this artist or band that you enjoy, you love to death, and you're just experiencing getting to see them in person, and the people that are there most likely are fans of that same musician, and you're able to bond over that, and it's supposed to be like just a friendly, welcoming just place every time you go to a concert. And there's these little things at concerts, no matter where you go, there's always a mosh pit, and depending on what band or artist you're gonna go see, the mosh pits can be a little more aggressive than the others. And the thing with mosh pits is people have died in them before, and all that kind of stuff, and it is really tragic. And it's not one of those things where banning mosh pits will do that. I just think that, you have your idiots in the mosh pit, and then you have the people that actually know what the hell goes on in there, and know the first rule in a mosh pit is that if someone falls, you pick them up and you keep enjoying yourselves. Or, God forbid, someone has a medical issue, and you get everybody to back up, maybe even stop, and get the medical staff over there. Because I will say, with this whole Astroworld thing, the medical staff was very slow. Like, I don't know how they didn't have medical staff, like, there and ready to go like they should have, but they didn't. And the whole thing with Travis Scott, people like, he gave a really half-assed attempt at trying to stop. You gotta put yourself in the musician's shoes with this, because even I was one of those people that, like, he should have did more, but looking at it, what are you expecting the musician to do, other than tell people, since they have the microphone, tell them through the microphone, like, hey, calm down, back up, we need medical, this, that, and the other. Like, what else do you expect them to do? I mean, they can jump down there and make sure the person's okay, but that's not gonna help that person in any way until the medical team gets there. Like, there's literally nothing else that Travis Scott in that situation could have done. And even though there were these fans trying to, I think that there were fans that got his attention, and then there were fans that were trying to get staff's attention, like security, and for some reason the security was ignoring the pleas for help, and that's a concern too, because security is also supposed to be there. That way, if there is a medical issue, they can call on their little walkie-talkies, be like, hey, we need medical in section what's it to it, and all that kind of stuff, or in the mosh pit, and just seeing the lack of preparation by the venue. I don't remember where this was, but the lack of preparation by the venue is really worrisome, and a lot of artists have called out that this happens all the time. It seems like these venues just aren't prepared enough, or they just don't give that much of a shit to even think about what would happen in the worst of consequences. And now, because of this, I think it was 8 people originally were dead, but then a 9th person died later in the hospital. They were one of the many that got injured, and then but they ended up passing away, sadly. And my condolences do go out to the families of the people that were lost in this situation, and even the people that were hurt. I hope everything's going okay with you. I hope you've had a quick recovery, and I know it could be somewhat of a dramatic experience that, if you need help, then I would recommend, getting some help for that, and just all that kind of stuff. But, I've seen this before too, because I don't really know how these people died. I don't know if it was some sort of medical issue, or maybe they fell over and got trampled on, because you do hear a lot about that in mosh pits too, is someone falls down and they just get, stepped on to a point where it just, boom, kills them like that. And I've seen too a lot of just ignorant people like, oh, that's just mosh pits. No, if you actually been in a mosh pit, you would understand what mosh pits are. Sure, yes, again, you will have your dick in the pit, as Corey Taylor calls it, but for the most part, again, people in mosh pits know that people are going to get crazy, they're going to dance, they're going to jump around, hop together, but in the end, when you see someone down, when you see someone injured, when you see someone who's, potentially having a medical issue like a seizure or heart attack, you have to do something about that. If they fall over, pick them up. If they're seriously injured to where they can't get up, get people back, get security's attention, then get the medical staff over there, or at least security should get the medical staff over there, and maybe, you know, if the musician is in, if you're in the front, the musician's there, the musician will most likely see it and be like, hey, whoa, whoa, stop. I think one of the good examples, because, you know, they've been showing a lot of, like, rock musicians and metal musicians that would, like, stop shows like Linkin Park, Slipknot, Deftones, and all that, and I think that's cool. But I remember seeing this clip most recently with KSI where this fan who he had met before the show was sitting in the front row. It wasn't the mosh pit, but it was in the front row. Actually, it may have been the mosh pit, I'm not sure. He said he just saw the kid was just very just pale and slumped over. He just didn't look good. And KSI literally just stopped the show, said, hey, we need medical attention. I'm not starting the show back up until this guy is getting medical attention and I'm sure he's okay. And he got down there and was helping the guy toward the medical attention, and he got back up there, and once he got the okay that the kid was okay, he went back to doing the show. And that's, you know, one of the things I think that, you know, people don't credit musicians enough for sometimes is, you know, again, they can only do so much, but at the same point in time, I don't really think I've ever seen a musician where they see someone that's like fallen down or like, you know, in a medical issue, and they're just like, yeah, keep going, jump up, jump up, jump up. Maybe Limp Bizkit at 99 Woodstock, but that's a whole different subject for another different video. So, yeah, Travis Scott isn't really the one to blame. He's, like, probably on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to that, because you gotta think, with the preparation of this Astroworld event, maybe he should have made sure that the staff and the security were more qualified than they led on to be. But I think with his so-called half-assed attempt at trying to stop the show, it was just more like, okay guys, I mean, I have the microphone, so I can, you know, get on the microphone and tell people to back up and stop and get medical attention, but that's really all he could do at this point. The people you know, that I think are most to blame are the venue for just not having their shit together, and of course, like I said, the security and medical staff for not doing their job or just doing it real slowly in this point, and then maybe the fans who kept going, because you can't tell me that there were people around these people that didn't realize that something was wrong and thought, oh, maybe we should stop. And I get it, there was clips of fans that were trying to, again, get the attention of security guards, this, that, and the other, but that wasn't the majority, and that's what really bothers me about that situation, is that people just kept going here. And I've also seen comments, too, about, like, oh, it was only, at the time, 8 people, now 9 people that died out of the thousands, so it's not that bad. And it just really brought me back to when coronavirus started, and people were like, oh, well, it's only 2,500 people getting the virus out of the billions of people, so it's not that bad. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand, that's 2,500 more sick people than there should be. And in this case, yeah, sure, it was only, what, 8 or 9 out of the thousands of people that were there, but that's 8 or 9 people too many that lost their lives, and probably shouldn't have lost their lives that day, because all they were trying to do was go to an event that they were excited for, to see an artist or multiple artists that they like, and just, you know, have the time of their life. And obviously, when you pass away, I don't really think you're having the time of your life there. I think it just didn't go as planned. So, you know, somebody's got to be held accountable for this, but I don't think it's Travis Scott. It has everything to really do with the venue. And if you are going to go in a mosh pit, because I've seen mosh pits, but I choose not to go in them because of stuff like this, I would just say, just make sure you know what's going on at all times, because again, you just make sure you know the people to stay away from, because there are people in the mosh pit that you just do not want to, you know, be around. And make sure you know where the safe part of the mosh pit is. You know, the people jumping around, high-fiving each other, having a good time. Like, those are probably the people that you want to be with, because if you fall down, they'll be like, oh, wait, hold on a second. They'll pick you up. You can keep going, and you'll have fun. Whereas the people on the other side that are, like, flailing their arms around, punching each other, knocking into each other, those are probably the ones you want to stay away from, because they'll probably cause the most chaos. But, you know, I'm not telling you not to go into a mosh pit. If you want to mosh, that's fine. Just make sure you're aware of your surroundings and just don't get caught up with the wrong people so that way something like this doesn't happen. Because obviously this had to have started somewhere in this mosh pit. Like I said, I don't know how many were medical issues, and I don't know how many were like, oh, they fell over and people just kept like dancing around and stomping them. Like, I don't know. But this whole issue had to have started somewhere in the pit and then escalated very, very fast and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. That's my main thoughts with this. This is really the only time I'm going to talk about this, because in the end, this is a tragedy. Families lost family members, friends lost friends. It's just something that we shouldn't really be talking about that much in this case, but we should be talking about how much the venue messed up in this situation. They made a mistake that they need to fix, and hopefully not have this happen again. But we'll see. They'll probably respond with like, we were the most prepared that we've ever been, even though clearly they weren't in this case. So that's my thoughts on this. You can tell me in the comments below what you think. And again, sorry I was late to it, but I wanted to get a little bit more details about the situation and kind of just think about what I had to say before going out and just saying something out of anger that I would later regret. So yeah, stay safe out there, wear your mask, get vaccinated, and I will catch you all in the next one.